So this Chicago TV news crew was robbed at gunpoint while reporting on how crazy robberies are in Chicago. Let's talk about how these liberal lunatic cities have just failed their citizens on crime. Chicago TV news crew robbed at gunpoint while filming a story on robberies in West Town. So let me show you what's been going on in Chicago and why this news crew was filming during that time. So check this out.
Carjacked overnight, spanning across Chicago's neighborhoods.
At least 7 incidents took place in just an hour. CBS 2's Muo Adigwe is in Wicker Park, where one of the carjackings happened.
We are along North Milwaukee Avenue this morning. This is where a woman told Chicago police that 3 guys carjacked her around 10:15 last night. She said at least one of them was armed. She also told police they arrived in a blue sedan, but eventually took off in her white SUV. Shortly after that carjacking, Chicago police say suspects in a white SUV robbed 2 women here in the West Loop. They even kicked one of the women when she refused to give up her belongings. Police say she was taken to the hospital in good condition. But after that robbery, there was another carjacking in Westtown and a robbery in Belmont Cragen. But the night of crime actually started around 9:45 with 3 robberies in Wicker Park and Bucktown, all involving suspects in a blue sedan. As of this morning, Chicago police are not saying if those robberies and carjackings are connected or if they involve the same suspects. They simply tell us they're still investigating. In Wicker Park, Mugo Adigwe, CBS 2 News.
So as you can see, all hell is breaking loose in Chicago. Crime everywhere. Everybody getting robbed, everybody getting robbed. And now even people reporting on the robberies are getting robbed while they're reporting on the robberies. But let me show you why this is going on, right? Because I think that's the important. It's not what's going on, but how we got here. So first, let me take you back to 2020 when the good people in Chicago, one of the worst crime-ridden cities in America, right, with some of the highest murder rates after the George Floyd incident. This is what protesters in Chicago, mind you, in Chicago, again, one of the highest crime-ridden cities in America. This is what they were saying about the police.
Hundreds of demonstrators calling for the millions of dollars the city pours into police to go back into the neighborhoods.
This isn't something that's just cute or something that we come out to just make a statement. This is our life.
Some of the activists, now familiar faces, back out again demanding that the funds be used for community resources and youth.
I need the funding while I'm young.
The protest started at Whitney Young High School, calling for the complete removal of cops in CPS schools. This comes after CPS announced the district will reduce funding for school resource officers and will not pay for police while schools are closed for remote learning.
CPD, out of all of the public spaces that we take up room in, CPD out of CPS schools.
Students speaking out about having more cops than counselors.
We don't have full-time nurses. We don't have full-time social workers. Defund the police. Fund into communities. Put funding into children of this city.
Mayor Lightfoot has said she's committed to investing in black and brown neighborhoods. The groups we talked to say they plan on marching every day until they get what they want and what they say they deserve.
So you get that? Defund the police, take them out of public spaces, do this, do that, right? Even though we're in one of the worst crime-ridden areas in the nation, with one of the highest murder rates in the country, defund the police. So the mayor of Chicago, at the time, Lori Lightfoot, before this new mayor, the new mayor is even crazier. She was like, okay, we're going to defund the police, but she had the reality of saying, well, hold on, we can't just defund the police because then we're going to be, if it's crazy now and we fully funded them, just imagine we start defunding them. So she tried to play the political game, which I think made people unsafe. Look at what happened.
Yeah, Brad, according to my math, the Chicago Police Department's budget will be cut by about $59 million, much of that by eliminating those vacant positions. Those who have been calling for the defunding of police say it isn't enough, but Mayor Lori Lightfoot says deeper cuts are not an option.
Our police officers are not our enemies.
That a matter-of-fact way for Mayor Lori Lightfoot to explain why she isn't defunding Chicago's police department, something activists have been demanding for months. But she isn't increasing CPD's budget either. She wants to eliminate 614 vacant department jobs, but she also wants to put an additional $5 million towards violence prevention and mental health programs.
We cannot responsibly enact any policies that make communities less safe.
Ninth Ward Alderman Anthony Beale agrees, which is saying something considering his tense relationship with the mayor.
We can't just, keep hiring more police. But at the same time, right now is not the time to defund the police.
Because Beale says of the violent crime surge in many Chicago neighborhoods, he and 5 other aldermen want the mayor to invest $50 million in a violence prevention program called CRED, which he says has helped cut crime in Roseland, his ward, by 33%.
Is this a realistic ask right now?
Absolutely. We cannot afford not to do this, because if we roll this out and crime is down, then we won't need as many police.
Beale believes that money could come from CPD's overtime budget or illegal gun and drug seizures. Currently, it's not on the mayor's radar, but launching an alternative response program is.
So the mayor did exactly that. The mayor cut some of that police funding. Okay, we're not going to defund the police, but we're going to cut all these police jobs, and we're going to make things safer by rolling back on the police. Then guess what happened? Things got worse. So bad that MSNBC, left-wing defund the police trumpet MSNBC, had to call her out because the mayor then screamed that she needed federal help to stop crime after essentially defunding her own police department. You think I'm joking? Come on, check this out.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is calling on the federal government to assist city law enforcement despite proposing an $80 million cut to the police budget last year. In a speech, Lightfoot asked Attorney General Merrick Garland to send ATF agents to Chicago to help end a surge of violent crime.
I have formally asked the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, to, with all deliberate haste, detail ATF agents to Chicago for 6 months so that we can increase the number of gun investigations and seizures in Chicago. And with these agents, we also need increased federal prosecutors to handle the new cases that will be generated.
So Chicago, like so many other cities, is seeing a historic spike in crime this year. More than 4,000 people have been shot in Chicago so far this year, and there have been close to 800 homicides, making it the deadliest city in the country. Jonathan,
defund the police. Like, am I crazy here, people? You can't sit there and say defund the police, propose taking $80 million and then go to the federal government. We need your help. We need your help. We need federal help. No, what are you doing? Put the $80 million back, you idiot. But she took that $80 million out because she wanted to appease the mob, right? To appease the mob. So what happens? Well, eventually she couldn't defund the police. So you know what the people in Chicago did? They voted her out and voted in this guy. And just to, I don't want to hide the ball. He obviously, like you see here, Chicago mayoral candidate, looks to cut the police budget by $150 million. This guy is coming in. We're going to defund the police, even though you got the 4,000 people shot, the highest crime rate in the country, the highest murder rate in the country. He's coming in. I'm going to defund, and they vote him in.
Any more on policing per capita anywhere else in the world has been a failure.
Well, he once sponsored a Cook County board resolution to reduce police funding. And today, candidate for Mayor Brandon Johnson said he would cut the Chicago police budget by at least $150 million. He proposes to spend billions of dollars more on social services, including mental health and youth employment.
Our political editor Mike Flannery joins us now with more. Mike.
Anthony and Natalie, a former educator, Johnson now works for the Chicago Teachers Union as an organizer. He said he would promote more detectives to solve killings and shootings, but he has repeatedly declined to answer whether he would cut the number of budgeted police officers.
Look, I get it. Like, people are talking about policing as a strategy. But keep in mind, that is the strategy that has led to the failures that we're experiencing right now.
Now, I don't want to hide the ball, but that guy won. He won. He's mayor of Chicago. But there's another issue now. It didn't help. Crime got worse. It got even worse. Even worse. But you know who he's blaming now? Because now you can't even drive your car. Your car's getting jacked now. Now you can't, they're stealing all your cars and everything. Stealing cars, getting robbed, murder rates out of the roof. So they've moved on to even more crimes. So now he says, well, you know what? I want to blame the car makers because the car makers are the problem. Not us defunding the police, obviously. No, that's not the problem. Police are racist inherently. We want to blame the car makers and sue the car makers. We're going to spend the city's money to sue the car makers for not having greater auto theft. I'm not even joking. That's like what he's proposed. Listen to it yourself.
It does make you think, who is coming up with this stuff? Jenna Caldwell, Fox News political analyst, out loud with you. We make light of this, but it does make you think, who is coming up with this stuff? Jenna Caldwell, Fox News political analyst, out loud with Gianna Caldwell, great podcast host, great friend. Jenna, you can't make this stuff up, but sign me up for that. If I can chase down all these guys who make all the delicious food so tempting for me, I think we got something here. What do you make of this?
I mean, I think that it's a misdirection from the mayor. We've seen since he's been in office, he definitely has a heart for criminals, which is something you wouldn't assume mayors of a major city would have, but he has a heart for criminals and he allowed them to continue in their criminality instead of saying we're going to get tougher on crime, which is what he should be saying. He said, no, we're going to blame the car manufacturers so we can say that we're actually doing something about crime.
Just so we're clear, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Up 22% in robbery, up 10% in theft, up 5% in, CSA. I'm not going to read it, but up 33% in total. Right? 33%. Those are shocking numbers. But this is who the people in Chicago wanted to vote for. This is why I am totally not angry at the people in Chicago. I don't feel sorry for them. They get what they deserve. You know what? Defund the police and see what happens. If you guys want to live in a war zone, so be it. And the people who can afford to move out of it need to get out of it because it ain't getting better because the last mayor had to, I want to defund the police, but I can't really do it. She waffled. She didn't defend them all the way. They kicked her out and put this guy in. And this guy took more money from him. And look, crime is even more skyrocketing. When will people understand the defund the police thing is a stupid idea? It's always been a dumb idea. And now this guy is trying to play, we're going to sue the car manufacturers for car thefts. What? Really? That's the answer? And all those idiots are going to be like, oh yeah, he's right to sue the car manufacturers. No, wrong answer. It's interesting when I used to hear about Chicago and what happened in Chicago and the issues that were happening, I was always feeling bad. Like, how can you? But now I know it's crime is opportunistic in nature. People have the opportunities to commit crimes and they don't feel that there'll be any repercussions. They're going to commit those crimes. And I think Chicago is a perfect example of this. Defund the police. Let criminals walk out of jail on bail reform. All that stuff. It's the bastion of liberals. Hey, let's just do it all what we want to do and just be who we want to be and let crime. And it's the people of that city who vote in these idiots and then want to blame the car manufacturers, right? Like always, tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. I think Chicago's an objective failure, but I do not feel sorry for them. I do not feel sorry for the people of Chicago. Everything that they get, they deserve until they vote somebody in to say, hey, listen, forget about the defund the police. Forget about taking cops out of, but that's ridiculous. Maybe that might work somewhere else. But here in Chicago, 4,000 shootings, 800 murders, crime is up 33%. That don't work here. But I believe in democracy. And I believe in the people's right to rule themselves through that democracy. And if this is what they want in Chicago, so be it. And I don't think you should feel sorry for them either, because this is what they want, right? They want the madness. So give it to them. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. My name is Nathan Lloyd, and I'll see you next time. Peace.